Hi there. I'm Niklas Christides, Managing Director Hicks Global and Dolce Vita Global, brands I've created about 5 odd years ago. Focusing Hicks is on the business intelligence and development of companies. And then I have Dolce Vita, which is a retail brand, lifestyle and health, well-being, all these kind of things, which are a great passion of mine as well. So this is just a brief intro about myself. I'm just going to tell you my story in a short run, if you like. Um, I'm a keen developer of companies, businesses. I coach as well. So I guess we can start from the fact that my outlook or me becoming an entrepreneur didn't really strike me as a great surprise. And be having been on that journey for about 5, 6 years already, it's um, it's a fascinating world and you learn so much. So for me, adaptability is maybe the word that the recent times have changed in me compared to the corporate world that I was heavily part of in the early days of my own development. So essentially, I started in my first job was in first real one in the airport in Helsinki, where I progressed very rapidly. And I think it's quite important to draw strengths from your early past as well when you actually look at what kind of person you are. And when I talk about leadership and teach about leadership, I do draw some really quite a lot of correlation back to what you do in your early days. And I think for me, the things that have made me a strong leader, a confident person, somebody who wants to, progress things in the world. I'm never happy or satisfied with things half done. So kind of the strive for excellence is always there, always been there. But I think that's a leadership trait that has had to stem from somewhere. And yeah, for me, it's sports and probably the roles and ambition that I had in my early life are the things that have actually made me very aware of the things that drive us, how we can shape people into become the best they could be. And I think it's great to have that ability to inspire people to achieve greatness within what they are, just as we are trying to do the same for within ourselves. So so at the airport, I had a lot of chances to work in the different customer settings, and I think that has given me a great grounding in understanding how to survive in very dynamic environments. So ground handling was actually a real gift in my life, and I wouldn't change it for anything, because it's that what makes me see things today. So when things change all the time around you, what do you do? And when you're young, unexperienced maybe to an extent, you look at things very openly, and you actually try to find solutions. And that's what I now see when I coach a business or something. It's I can bring that drive back into trying to figure out what to do, or and not getting stuck on the minor things, but looking at the bigger picture holistically. And that's always been a strength of mine, I guess. So I have a lot to thank for those early days at the airport. I moved to England from Helsinki to study business at Nottingham Trent University, doing my business degree there. Still actively support the development of the university, and it's great to see that it's doing so well. The business school, in particular, in how it approaches business and what it has to give, and that's also being seen in the rankings. So it's an honor to kind of stay in touch with the academic environment that have also shaped a lot of my thoughts about how to run business and what it's all about. Corporate-wise, the biggest step in England was for me Rolls-Royce. I've been doing a lot of roles, and again, kind of have to be very grateful for the opportunity to be in such a diverse and major company that has, that has such a complex supply chain. I think it's when you come into something and you think, oh my God, like this. We're not talking about thousands of lines. We are talking about millions of lines of data. We are talking about products that have 5,000, 10,000 parts. So the complexity was just overwhelming. When before you think things are fairly simple in life, and again, I think that's something that has shaped my thinking in terms of efficiency a lot, and that's why I'm quite demanding. In that sense, that I really believe that the world is shaped from the way to see what things are made up of. So we got to always understand the bottom line. And strategy is great in theory, but if strategy doesn't understand your bottom line, you will never succeed. And it's a fact. I've seen it across many industries, and I will tell you any day that this is where we go wrong a lot, but it's an easy thing to fix when we start to understand it. So for me, that's it's an interesting an interesting opportunity that Rolls-Royce provided, in the sense that not only was I able to see the supply chain, but having been given the opportunity to feature in a lot of the development of how the organization is reporting, how it's managing its personnel, everything being part of the bigger infrastructure development. And I think for the company at a very crucial stage. So, and then the cross-cultural element. So that really Rolls-Royce gave me even broader opportunity to work more globally. So whilst being still mainly in the UK most of the time, but when a company is global, it's different. It's you do get in touch with that different sense, and you have to start to manage the multicultural side of things, and it's the ethics and diversity and everything that then becomes such an important part, and that goes back into the strategy, back into the DNA of the business, and we had a lot to do with that kind of stuff, and I think it's very inspiring. From there, I had the opportunity to move on to my entrepreneurial career. And well, I knew a long time ago that business management, whether it's under that word or a different one, but it was my kind of destiny. But then maybe as you grow more into things, I think nowadays I can see that it's even more about maybe the giving back, the teaching, the coaching, being part of the structures changing and evolving, that I can see as being what it really meant, which I might not really have understood straight away. But it's been an interesting journey working for myself, and again with all the diversity that we have. So kind of learning to create systems, solutions, but still, having to be able to implement them, having to be able to coach the directors, owners of companies, maybe people who don't even, some people who didn't even have any experience within business. We have worked with all sorts, and I think it's fascinating to see how, in my view, the world is very, very simple in its own right, but it's only becomes simple after you start to understand how kind of difficult you make it. So, and that goes then back to my business management principles and how I do things, and how I believe the world should look in the future in terms of how we run things, in terms of how we treat our employees and how we get the best out of them, how we bring machine and artificial intelligence and all these hot topics into business, into our society, so on. And we can, we can be better. We can be more efficient. We can be so much more progressive than we are today. And I believe I can be an inspiration in that. And that's why also we're doing so much on the speaking and the learning side now, because if and when we stop to evolve, which happens when, for instance, a company stops investing in their learning and development, or you start to go into a shell and you don't, like what we're seeing at the moment. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world. So what do? We start to just save, and we don't invest in our own growth. And it's the most dangerous time that you could ever face, because it's every second is actually eating away some of your future. And you may be getting it back, but it's a lot of work, and some people, some organizations will not get it back. It's just, this is a fact. So it's I think it's nice to be back also in more of the role of giving, which I have had opportunities in like Rolls-Royce and things with my teams and everything, to be able to teach people more and share more, rather than being more operative and more in charge of what's happening. I think this has a great importance. But at the same time, we want to be part of the infrastructure growth of all sorts of companies. And I think, the one thing that I wish for my own development is that we can get more industries, because I have experience of a good 10 plus industries, and I can find no better thing to do than to take on the next one, because this is the way you can view the world totally, because you can actually start to compare. It's like when you go from one country to the next, it's like, it's apples and pears. It's not the same. And but there is a lot that is the same, and actually majority, as I said, is the same, and that's fascinating, and that's something that I think will make and keep us in a place where we're quite unique, because we actually want to look at the world the way that it really is, not the way we make it out to be. And that's all about what my consultancy side with Hicks is, and then to promote something that is so important physically for us as humans is our health and well-being, which is it's a great thing to be able to work on that side, and also bring the awareness to the business world that in the end, it's how we feel, our lifestyle, our ecosystem, everything around us that gives us the conditions to be successful. Don't ever forget that. Whoever you think you are, in a leader or whatever, if you neglect this fact, you'll never be successful truly. So it's again about that awareness. We've got to be standing out and taking steps in these kind of things. But that's a little bit about me. Get in touch if you want a chat with me, or seeing if I can support in some way. As I say, I do cover the whole operational remit, so from everything from strategy to finance, HR, marketing, supply chain, governance, you name it. Various levels of experience within each, but I do always say, because I look very holistically at things, I don't think there are many discussions where I can't bring some really good insight and values. So look forward to working with more people on these things. And again, it's the global world that we are building. So I don't restrict myself to areas. Neither do we at Hicks generally. We want to be somebody who's progressive, and virtual and available as much as we can. So, and I hope you enjoy the team. We are building a really good learning team around us, and of people who have great qualities and ability to teach. So utilize it, because it's a way for you to boost your own fortunes, and that's essentially what I want to be to people and to the world, is that let's give the world some even better fortunes. So see you later.